how to properly buy a new TV for video streaming. And I've come up with 6 questions you need to ask yourself before buying a new TV. And I can guarantee you, if you have those 6 questions answered before you make your purchase decision, then you're gonna be fine. No worries. The first question you need to ask yourself is, what kind of devices do you need to plug in your TV? These days, that mostly means one thing, and that's how many HDMI inputs am I gonna need? Because for the most part, recent technology for televisions mostly goes with HDMI, and that's a very nice standard that you don't have to worry about too much. Despite what you might think, quality honestly doesn't make that much of a difference. HDMI is an either or thing, so that means either it works or it doesn't work. The quality of the cable, the quality of the input doesn't really make a difference in terms of what kind of signal you're gonna get. It either works or it doesn't work. So don't worry about spending $100 on a cable. A normal cheap one is gonna work perfectly fine. But what you want to make sure is that you get a TV that has at least 5 to 6 HDMI inputs, because you're gonna need them. Say your Roku, your PlayStation, probably if you have a cable provider, you're gonna need an HDMI input for that. Or even if you want to plug in your laptop, there are many different reasons why you're gonna need HDMI input, so make sure you have loads of them. Also, you might be wondering about older devices like VCRs, maybe not that much anymore, but DVD players or something like that that doesn't have an HDMI yet. Honestly, I wouldn't worry about older standards that much, because mostly you can just buy an adapter, and it's way easier to find a new television with loads of HDMIs and then buy an adapter afterwards for your older device than trying to find a television that has that one specific plug that you need. Like, for example, a SCART. SCART is something that many devices used to use in the early 2000s and in the 90s. Not really common anymore these days, but that's not really a trouble at all, because you can very easily buy a 20 to 25 buck adapter for HDMI, and that has you covered. So just make sure to get as many HDMIs as possible. Number two is, what kind of content are you going to consume? So that's a big one, because it makes a huge difference if what you're gonna watch is, say, football or soccer or something, versus a television show or playing video games. So the type of content you consume mainly on your TV makes or breaks your television purchase decision. So the best way to go about buying the right TV with the right settings for what you need is to bring your own content to the store. So if you go to an electronic store, just bring a USB stick or say a Blu-ray or a DVD with the typical kind of content you would watch, and then ask the store clerk to just put it in for you and see how it looks on the TV you want to buy. Most stores won't have any kind of problem with that. But the thing is, the manufacturers usually put some kind of demo on their TV that makes them look the best, obviously. So you're not gonna really get a truthful picture from those. So make sure to bring your own content and see how it looks on there. If you head on over to videostreaminginsider.com, we have a whole chart for you that has the different types of contents and what kind of brightness settings and black levels and that kind of stuff you're gonna need. So just head on over to videostreaminginsider.com and look at our chart if you have any more questions about that. The next question you're gonna have to ask yourself is, how do you consume your content? It makes a difference if you go with, say, a Roku box or a PlayStation to consume your content, or if you want to watch it directly from your TV. There are different operating systems and different TV brands, which we're gonna talk about in a little bit. But what you want to make sure is that whatever television you choose, make sure that the OS, the operating system, is easy to navigate for you. Especially with mid to higher tier televisions, you can usually get very interesting input devices, like for example a full keyboard or a touchscreen interface on the remote. So look at that and look what you're comfortable with. Not everybody wants a fancy remote. Maybe you just want like your typical standard remote, how it's been done most of the time, and you don't want something that's very fancy or um, uh, complicated. So make sure to look at that, and make sure to look at the operating system if you can navigate it, if it's easy for you to navigate. Also, talking about that, what's really important is how the operating system is supported, which means is your favorite app on the TV. For example, say Netflix or Apple TV, Hulu. Make sure that you can get those on your television. The next thing you want to think about is what kind of room do you have. There are two key things with your room size. One is where your Wi-Fi is located at, because you want to make sure that there is not that much of a distance between your Wi-Fi on one side and your television on the other side. The best thing would even go with a wired connection through Ethernet, if that's a possibility and if it doesn't make too much trouble. Otherwise, just make sure that your Wi-Fi isn't too far away, or get a Wi-Fi repeater that you can set up very close to your television, because what you don't want to happen is your Wi-Fi cutting out while you're watching a movie or a television show. Or even worse, a live sports event. The other thing you want to make sure is that you buy a TV that's the proper size for your room, and especially for how far away from your television you want to sit. We have a very handy chart on videostreaminginsider.com. Just look at that. It will tell you exactly what size of TV is proper for the kind of distance you want to have to your TV. And the next thing is what operating system is the best for me. We've already touched on that sort of, but I want to go into more detail on that because it makes quite a difference. There are a couple of main operating systems that are used these days. One is the Roku TV, which doesn't only come if you buy a Roku device, but actually, if you buy a Philips or a TCL or a couple of other brands, they already come with Roku preloaded on them. So if you get one of those, make sure that you're comfortable with Roku. Other brands are WebOS, which is what LG uses for its TVs, which has the best voice integration but doesn't have that many apps as of this video. So make sure that the apps you need are on that, or that you can get them from their app store. And then there is Android TV, which is a big one and used by many brands, like for example Sony and Hisense. It already has Google Chromecast integrated, which is very nice, and it's a good OS overall. If you want more information on operating systems, head on over to videostreaminginsider.com. We have tons of more information on the whole topic, way more than we can cover in this video. I hope you enjoyed this video, and it's gonna help you out with your purchasing decision, and I hope you get the right TV for you.